Hey guys, I'm Tiger Sheu with Pacific Rim Video and Front Row Features, and we're here with
Fenech Soler.
Yeah, Ross and Ben from Fenech. Yeah.
Well, awesome guys. So you guys, where are you based out nowadays? London, LA?
Well, I'm actually moving out here. I'm in the it's been a slow process, but I've spent more time over here in Los Angeles than I have back home. But we've been living in London for the last few years. We're originally from a little village in Northamptonshire, about 2 hours north of London, in the middle of the countryside. So
Yeah.
between those three,
We like it here though. The weather's a lot nicer than the UK, so we enjoy it a lot. It's
Beaches
nice.
are a little less dreary, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even go to the beach in the UK. It's not even a thing.
Yeah.
Really.
And we have to apply lots of sunscreen. Like, we're so white that we burn. We need to wear if it's a full moon, we need to wear moon cream. That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
So guys, you're brothers.
Yes.
What made you guys want to start a band together? When did you guys realize you want to do this?
Quite early on, really. I think we've always been around music. Our father was a musician and he played with his brother, kind of similar to what we do, but it was kind of bluegrass music and country music, so it's a little bit different to the synthesizers that we play now. But yeah, we're just always around it and we kind of grew up with that, and me and Ben have been playing together our whole lives. But I think when we started wanting to do Fenech, it was when we found the love for kind of electronic music, and that through like Daft Punk and Chemical Brothers, and when we listened to them we kind of just thought, how do we make that music live? So yeah, it took us a few years, but we always wanted to have a band element as well to it. So yeah, it's a few years ago now, isn't it? But we've always been writing together, so it's kind of felt like we've always been doing it, really.
Right out the womb, just both of you.
Yeah, I mean, some of the songs we wrote back then, they're way better than these ones now, I think.
Yeah. No, not at all.
But you guys are making really big waves right now, and you know, for a lot of our American audience that are getting to know your music, can you kind of explain the name of the band?
Yeah, so the name is, there's a few different ways you can pronounce it, but the correct way, or the way that we say it is... The official way is Fenech Soler, that's what we say. But there's Fenech Soler, I've heard people say. But originally the name's Maltese, and, you know, for us, like, a lot of people in the UK, when we started, thought we were from France. And actually our first single came out on a French label, and we quite enjoyed the kind of strangeness of people thinking we were like from somewhere else than where we were from, because we were just from this little farming village in the UK. So Fenech Soler for us like was quite emblematic of just a sound that we felt that was like not from where we were. You know, it matched the kind of exoticness of what we felt we were creating, not in a pretentious way, just in a kind of like it felt like it fit what we were doing. So the name's originally Maltese, and yeah, that's where it's come from.
Well, speaking of names, you guys have a great new album coming out called Zilla, right?
Yeah.
Now, we heard that was named after a friend. Could you give us a little backstory on that?
Yeah, it was named after a good friend of ours in London, and yeah, it was just her name. It was always something that jumped out. It's just, yeah, hadn't heard anything like it before, and I always said to Ben, I was like, that's a great name, like you should use that in some capacity, and I think it fit the kind of colourful pop sound that we're going for. And again, we like sloganeering and we like the sound of words, like, and we thought, yeah, just an album name that had started with a Z was not done very often, so yeah, we just felt it fit the sound perfectly, really.
It actually became like a buzzword for us, like in terms of the writing process. I think probably only us two probably knew in our heads what musically that was, but if something didn't sound Zilla enough to us, whether it's a synth or a drum sound, it just kind of was this like trigger word for us for like narrowing in like a creative that we wanted to narrow in on, I guess. So it wasn't something like we finished the record and then found a name. It was very much meshed in with the creative process. So it was like written on our studio wall, we talked about it all the time, and so it just felt very much like kind of meshed in with the music. So yeah.
Well, and that's one thing that I think a lot of new listeners will find, is that your music is very focused and determined and deliberate in what you guys want to do. Where do you guys draw inspiration from that?
I think that was one of the inspirations for this record, was like simplicity and trying to write a really simple pop song, which I think some people might think it's quite an easy thing to do, but I think it's one of the trickier things to do, rather than writing like a 5-minute indie song. And I think that was the focus, especially with Kaleidoscope, the main single from the record. But I think inspiration, we draw from so many different things. I think A lot of kind of soul and disco from the late 70s, early 80s is real kind of backbone for us. But then we love the electronics from, like we were saying earlier, like Daft Punk and Chemical Brothers and Soul Wax and people like that. So if you draw a line between them and like Michael Jackson, you might find kind of what we're trying to do. But I think we just wanted to make a simple, colourful pop record that wasn't too in-depth, really. It's quite simple. And
with this album, we heard that you guys did a lot of self-producing. Has this been a little bit of a different process than previous albums?
No, it's kind of been similar. I mean, Ross and I have always done the writing, and we tend to kind of sketch stuff relatively quickly, and then we procrastinate and we go back and then we worry and we like go over it a million times, and that's the bit that we need to become quicker at. But
yeah, knowing when to stop is the hardest thing.
Yeah,
work on it forever.
So we do everything at home. We've always felt like having a kind of a DIY ethos behind not only making music, but how you kind of handle yourself as a band, and how your business set up, and just the whole spectrum of making music and being in a band in the current kind of industry. We've always felt like doing it yourself is like more important than anything else. So when it comes to like the music making, we just kind of done it ourselves, and we did that on our first record, and we did it with this record, and people will come in and add little bits here and there, and like some people will get it like mixed externally and get some fresh ears on it. But we'd like to just kind of control as much, whether it's visual, audio, the whole artistic thing. We're really like, it's us. We're involved in everything.
Now, being DIY, do you feel there's maybe more struggles, more freedoms in how you go about producing music?
I guess. I mean,
yeah, there's definitely more freedom. I think if you're being DIY, I think that ethos should be carried through any artist. Really, I think as soon as you stop being honest with your music and trying to portray yourself just to kind of please crowds, that's when the art kind of slips, I think. So I think, yeah, just being true to it, and I think that's what DIY kind of means. I think some bands can be taken onto a major label and swayed different ways, and I think sometimes it dilutes their artistic approach. Yeah, artistry or artistic approach on the kind of art and the music they're trying to put out. So I think, yeah, the ethos between me and DIY and just doing it ourselves is to kind of just make sure it's as pure as possible and as honest.
When I was 17, I did what people told me. What my father said, let my mother know.